So one of them is just like we talked about, this sort of looking backwards from the future. I think that there is so much leadership that is required in society just by doing that, just by recognizing. Actually, most of us, we lead forward. Here's the present, let's take it forward into the future. But because of the forces underway, there are some far futures that we know are coming. You know, autonomous vehicles. And how is that going to change? It's going to change cities. But how many people are really thinking there and bringing back? How do we affect that change? And how do we make that change positive as possible for citizens? Because when we built the roads in the early days of urban planning, we didn't think back. What would be the best city for citizens? We just said, where do we need more roads for the cars? Until eventually in some cities we got it catastrophically wrong. So a future of autonomous vehicles, a future of 9 billion people, a future where in Canada people are regularly living to the age of 100, we can see those and bring back some questions to disturb the present with an awareness of that future. That's a big part, I think, of leadership in the 21st century. Another big part, I think, is narrative. Right? So again, the point of my book is that the facts and analysis aren't enough. We need to bring strong imagination and to animate those facts with some real sense of possibility of where the future could go. But I think that the other opportunity there is for leaders to establish a narrative about what's important and why and where do we want to be. And in the first Renaissance, there was this beautiful narrative that the millennials, like Michelangelo, had, which was to say, look, how are we going to thrive through this moment of upheaval? Let's find a moment in our past that we felt humanity got it right, and they chose classical Greece and classical Rome. And let's bring back into the present the virtues that operated successfully in that society. So civility, but also dignity and humanity and proportion. And that's what motivated so much Renaissance art, was to say, I'm not just chipping this statue of David into a block of marble. I'm communicating to my audience today that we need to resurrect and reinterpret this virtue of courage, of stepping in to the challenges of our present and trying to shape the outcome in a positive direction. That's what Michelangelo was saying with his art. And I think there's a lot of a need and an opportunity today where we're just awash in so much change and possibility for leaders to step up and to give a narrative about, maybe our narrative here in Saskatchewan is civility. This is a virtue that we're going to resuscitate into 21st century society. And then I think the third one, the third big quality of 21st century leadership is convening communities. And I think that in so many dimensions of business too, we're fumbling our way there. So we're starting to recognize that, far more, say, persuasive to your customers than sort of top-down advertising is to sort of, say to them, hey, look at the cool thing we're doing over here. Do you want to come join in, right? And being the facilitator, convening the community around, a book or around a place or around a problem. And rather than trying to sort of orchestrate the solution, just recognize that everybody has a little piece of the answer. And now we have the technologies where that's okay. We can manage that. We can bring it all together. And so our leadership styles, I think, need to evolve to tap that collective genius and be more about convening people. Hey, do you want to help me solve this problem? Because me as the leader, I'm probably not fully aware of where the solution needs to come from. I'm a business person, I think it's going to be from business, but maybe there's this researcher in science or in sociology, right? Or this kid who actually has the missing piece of this puzzle. So I'm going to convene a community that's very open and is open to that kind of serendipity of the solution emerging out of the community rather than how I've directed it. So I think that's going to be a big sort of force multiplier, a big distinction between good and great leadership in the 21st century.